What's up, everybody? Loading up day 13. Let's give it a second. Let's give it a second. Um, Today was fun. Started a new audiobook, which inspired today's topic. Let's load up Instagram. There we go. Today we're going to be talking about slowing down time. Um, has a lot to do with my reel today, my post today, and what I think a lot of us do. Let me know if this is true for you guys is oh shit, light's a little bit fucked up. Um what's up everybody? Um we are so busy hustling, right? So there's this transition that happens in our lives where we live a regular life, right? So we're working our 9 to 5, we're just trying to figure out what the fuck we want to do with our life. And then we enter this phase. And this phase is, I know that this corporate life, the 9 to 5 life is not for me. And then we start seeking how we're going to leave the 9 to 5 job. Once that happens, it's kind of like a nonstop roller coaster. It's kind of like you never really stop moving after that, because when you work a corporate job, life is easy. Life is so fucking easy. You don't even have to think when you're working a corporate job. And time feels like it stopped. Time feels like it doesn't even exist. Time feels like it doesn't move, it doesn't speed up. Nothing exciting is happening because you're not really living your purpose. You're just settling for a mediocre life when you live a corporate life. And that's why corporate life is easy. That's why most people live a corporate life, because it's easy. It's very difficult to go any other path, creating a path for yourself, running your own business, being an entrepreneur. So much harder to do that than to just work a 9 to 5 job. Whatever the fuck 9 to 5 job you have, guarantee you 10 out of 10, I would dominate that job, that role. Why? Because you don't have to do anything. You barely have to make any decisions. You just do whatever the fuck you're told, and that's it. And you might think you're making decisions, but they're not really that big of a decision. There's no company on the line. There's no team members on the line. You're not even on the line, because again, the amount of funding that your corporate job or corporate company even has access to is far more than whatever salary you're getting paid on an annual basis. So you guys have to remember that a 9 to 5 job is easy. And again, I've been in a very low paying minimum wage, less than minimum wage corporate job, and I've been making 6 figures in the corporate life. So I've been everything from the shit show to the top. And looking back on it now in comparison to entrepreneurship, corporate life is so fucking easy. I don't know why people complain about it. People that complain about corporate life are they don't understand about how much time they're losing not doing something that's fulfilling. And when we think about that, I think what happens is once we enter this new evolution where we're just like, okay, I think that corporate life's not for me. I think that what I want in life is far bigger than what corporate life can give me. The reverse effect happens, right? So in corporate life, you kind of live a mediocre life, nothing really moves, nothing changes. Once you start entering entrepreneurship, it's like you just went on this fucking massive roller coaster. There's no stop, there's no pause. You don't even know when this shit's going to end. And this is where it sucks, because you didn't learn how to stop time in corporate life. And now you have to learn how to stop time as an entrepreneur. And what I mean by stop time is not like stopping because you're freaking the fuck out. I'm talking about stopping so that way you can be present. Because for a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we're so caught in dreaming land, right? We're dreaming about the next thing. We're dreaming about the next invention, the next thing we're going to innovate. The next series we're going to start, the next program we're going to start, the next company we're going to build, what company we're going to build after this company's built, and we're thinking like decades from now. And it doesn't make sense, because all you have to do is focus on one thing, grow it, then focus on the next thing. But as entrepreneurs, we have squirrel brain. We're just constantly thinking about shit. And again, like we weren't taught in corporate life how to slow down time and be present in the moment, because we weren't present in corporate life. We were zombies. Think about it. Like I thought I was like hustling in corporate life. Now when I look back, I'm like, man, if I were to ever go back to a corporate 9 to 5 job, I would just be so disgruntled because it'd be so easy. I don't have to think. I barely have to make decisions. I just have to follow a standard operating procedure given by a company, and that's how I win. So dumb. I would not want to do that. But again, like as an entrepreneur, especially if you're first generation entrepreneur, nobody teaches us this shit. Nobody teaches us that you have to master how to change your perspectives in real time, how to interrupt yourself, right? Pattern interrupt, all of these things that give us squirrel brain because again, it's like, ooh, shiny object. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. And we're just like, and that's what we do. And it's so bad for us because if you're an entrepreneur and then you're a high performer, um, then it's like fucking it's like a double-edged sword because now you don't know how to stop. You don't know how to be present, and I think this is what leads to burnout. I was talking to somebody in my DMs, and they were like, bro, I'm just like, I'm so burnt out. I'm so burnt out. I'm trying to launch like all of these different businesses, and I just none of them are working. I feel like I need to go all into one thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, bro. Like you can't be trying to start 5 different businesses at the same time. That's not going to work. Like putting your heart and soul into one business is already a lot of work. Putting it across 5 different channels and you haven't even battle tested any of the channels, it's a shit show. Don't do that. And he's like so burnt because it's like for months now, he's just been grasping at straws, just trying to figure out like how much to put into this business, how much to put into that business, how much to put into his family, how much to put in himself. And like it's just constant like battle with himself and his battle against time. And again, it's like it's just like one of our Austin, Google it, bro. Google it. You gotta Google it. Like if you guys want to start businesses, like learn how to use Google. I've never had to ask somebody how do you stream to different platforms. I just Googled it. Just Google it. Okay. Because it's something's gonna work for you. Okay. Because this setup, it's a whole setup. I have to tell you how to set up the whole damn thing. It's not a simple answer. Google what you need right now, and you probably don't need to stream to multiple platforms. Okay. Again, Squirrel brain. What are you trying to do with your business? I'm pretty sure you don't need to stream to multiple social channels. Focus, okay? Trying to focus. So focus on the topic we're talking about. That's the biggest thing. See, entrepreneurs, we're just crazy people. That's the biggest thing. So back to where I was trying to go with this is when we're not taught these things, we don't know how to slow down. We don't know how to look at what's right in front of us and solve that problem. And sometimes, especially even when I'm teaching my own clients, I'm like, look, the answer like right under your nose. It's like right there. It's been present the entire time. But we're so caught in thinking about step number 9, 10, 11, 12 that we forget that there's 1 through 8 we still haven't solved. We still have not solved problems 1 through 8. So why is it that every single day we're like so focused on 9, 10, 11, 12, and then after that it jumps to like 20, 27, 30, and we're like 30 steps ahead of what's right in front of us. And then we get stuck. And so my wife this morning, she was like, "Hey, there's this book." Um, I literally just started listening to it on Audible. It is called The Timekeeper. The Timekeeper. That's by let me see, Mitch Album. Okay, Album. Great read so far. Great listen so far. So it's talking about how there's this guy and he has like a dying wife, and all he wants to do is stop time, prevent this bad thing from happening, saving his wife, blah 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 blah. And there's like multiple different storylines happening at the same time, but all it's showcasing is everybody wants to control time. Everybody wants to stop time. Everybody wants to speed up time to get to that end state end result, right? There's just so much command and control that people want out of their life. What happens is, and this is so true because I look at the patterns in my own life when I've experienced this, and it's so fucking true. We spend most of our time worried about time. We spend most of the seconds that we don't get back, the seconds that are fleeting on a daily basis, worried about time that we're never going to get back. And by doing that, now it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy where we want to maximize on time. We want to speed up time, but instead we're losing time. And then we never actually get to the thing that we want because we're afraid that we're never going to get there. So then we create that because we're focused on the wrong things. And so we try to create all of this control, and there's no control over time. And when we do that and we're trying to either slow down because we don't want something bad to like occur that we know it's pending, or we want to speed up time to get to a state where we've achieved the exact results that we're working toward. Um, both times we're going to be in misery. Both of those ways of living are going to cause us to not be in the present, not be in the now. And if we're never able to be present in the now, then we're never able to be grateful for the moments that we are experiencing right now, the moments that we're living. And if we're never experiencing the moments that we're living in the now, then we're not really ever living, because then we're caught in the future or we're caught in the past. We're either trying to get away from something or try to get towards something, but we're never here. And here in the now is the only thing that we have, right? So, like right now, all of us from all over the world are just connecting. We're present. And when we're not present, that's when we check out. That's when we leave these videos. That's when we press pause. That's when we go to the next thing, because we're not present. It's kind of like earlier, right? I was talking about one thing, timeline separated me to talk about something else. I had to bring myself back. But imagine if I went on a totally different tangent. We wouldn't have control. But the time that we have together is very short. So I want to make sure that, again, all of the patterns that I'm seeing, whether it's from the past, whether it's from the present, or where I see myself making these adjustments, I want to share that with you guys, because again, we've had 13. That's somewhere between 7 hours to 13 hours together. Because I know I've done a little bit longer videos in the beginning. 7 to 10 hours, let's say. 7 to 10 hours so far of training where I'm just pouring into you on a daily basis this entire time. Why? Why is it important for me? Because sometimes when I'm reflecting on these things, I get to slow down and I get to learn here from you guys too. Like Austin, he's like, "Respect." But the cool part about Austin is he didn't take that and he didn't get butthurt about it. He was like, "Oh, he's saying that to me so that way I can grow and start thinking at a different level, because when I'm thinking high level, we don't ask those questions. We, like, get it done." It's like these people. Well, I posted this video about me starting a business at 13 years old. And then I had all these people like, "Hey, how can I start a business?" I'm 13, I'm 14, I'm 15. And I'm like, do you think that when I started my business at 13 years old, I was asking people how to start a business, or do you think I went to start Googling how to fucking start it? The people that are serious are the people that don't need to ask a question. They're going to seek the answer on their own because something's calling them to do it. Asking somebody a question means that you're not actually going to do it for yourself, because if you were serious, you would have Googled it. So now, like in this moment, because we were present, we were together, at least for me, Austin also has my respect, because I'm just like, hell yeah, bro. Like most people would get butthurt. They'd be like, oh, fuck you, bro. You didn't give me the answer. But for him, he's going to take that. He's probably going to Google it and he's probably going to go crush it. He's probably going to start his channel. He's probably going to start building content. He's going to start pouring into somebody. And I think that we forget sometimes to just appreciate these moments. Like all of the hardship. Yesterday we were talking a lot about things not going your way. So if you guys missed that, I don't know if it ended up posting to Instagram, but definitely check it out on YouTube, because I think that they're all getting stored on YouTube. So check out yesterday's, especially if things aren't going your way right now. Um, Biggest thing is, like, for me, I've noticed that whenever I get lost in the chaos of life, whether it's personal life, babies and stuff, building businesses, I'm gonna do a YouTube video on a recent business I actually had to shut down, and, like, there's just the stress load of all of that. It's so easy to get caught in the race of things. It's so easy to get caught in just being an entrepreneur, that you have to train yourself to, like, breathe. You have to train yourself to slow down. You have to train yourself to be present in the moments. For me, I find that in the gym. I find that when I take Sundays off with my daughters. You have to find those times for yourself, because what I found is when we spend those times, or when we find those times, whatever outlet it is for you, because it might not be the gym for you, it might not be spending time, you might not have kids, I don't know. You find the thing that makes you feel present, and in those present moments, you stop, you slow down, and you look at your entire life. You look at the good, the bad, the ugly. And while you're in your present state, you start unpacking all of the shit. And when you start unpacking, for some reason, it heals you. For some reason, when you start unpacking, but you're present at the same time, it starts healing all of those gaps. You start changing your expectations. You stop feeling disappointed. You start feeling more grateful. You start seeing the lessons that life, God, the universe has been trying to teach you, but you've been so distracted because you're so focused on the future or focused on running away from the past, you forgot to be in the now. Those moments where you really get to appreciate everything that's happening for you in life, that's the life changing stuff. That's what I found. I found that when I am grateful for having all of the pain, all of the problems in my life, all of the aches in my actual physical body, the days where I can't focus, like yesterday night, my girls, I don't know what the hell was happening. I thought today was gonna be like the most on target day, but for some reason, like my daughters were like all types of crazy yesterday. My wife was like, "Was it a full moon yesterday?" And I can, what's up with the crazy last night? On the days where like my mind is challenged the most, to be present and to be grateful that while we're learning these lessons, so maybe I'm learning how to be a more patient father even more than I already am. Maybe I'm learning to continue to be present, knowing that I don't have control over some things and to focus on what I can control and let go and let God for the things that I can't. Maybe that's the lesson. And when we start attaching all of these positive things to all the negative things that are happening in our lives, the way that we experience life, which is the only thing we can control, we choose now for it to be better. We choose now for it to be like a good thing. And when we think about how that compounds over time, we get to experience life a little bit more deeply, more connected. We get to heal a lot of parts of ourselves that we thought somebody else would heal, but really the healing comes from us and from within. And we actually end up arriving at the same success that we were originally meant to accomplish, but we enjoyed the entire ride. So instead of this roller coaster being a fucking shit show, we actually enjoyed the roller coaster. Because we changed our perspective, because we changed how we were viewing the whole situation, because we chose to do the thing that most people, again, just like I talked about at the beginning of this whole thing, most people are just living like a fucking zombie. Most people are stuck in the program. Most people are stuck in what people call the matrix. People are stuck in that way of living that you're just told to live this life. This is how you're going to live it until you die, and that's it. That's your life. Well, that's not your life. That's not what you were designed for. But if you can't shake yourself awake and realize that you can completely shift things, you just have to do it the opposite of the 99%. The life that you can live can be so great, but you have to understand you're also going to have to pay the price to live that life. So when we think about slowing down time, especially when you guys feel like the emotional chaos, right? So maybe there's like a tragedy happening in your life, you feel that emotional chaos. That's a great indicator that there's something that you can control in that moment if you're willing to look for it. Because some people like to submit to it. They're like, I'm going through chaos, so I'm gonna just fucking embrace the chaos. And you can do that. But again, if you notice the patterns in your life, every time you've embraced chaos, you just created more chaos. In those moments, I decide to like stop, meditate, breathe, pray, literally breathe, like follow your breath. Um, when you're going through an event inside of your business that's caused, like maybe you have like a literal event you're hosting, maybe there's a transitioning happening in your business, maybe you're having to shut down a business, and there's a lot of fucking chaos that's involved with that, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. In those moments, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that creates wisdom if you're willing to stop and realize how it's happening for you versus to you. And I think sometimes we just let like life and all of this wisdom pass by because it's so much harder to focus in those moments and say, hey, how I feel is irrelevant to this because this is temporary emotion. And I need to compartmentalize this, put it over here. So that way I can focus on what is God? What is the universe? What is life trying to teach me here in this moment? It's very difficult for most people to do that. But when I started doing that, when I stopped playing victim, when I started looking at my entire life as if I can actually make changes and control these different variables, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. For some reason, I experienced things in a better light. For some reason, I was able to actually get back on target a hell of a lot faster than just spending months or years in just turmoil. For some reason, like everything about life and business just got easier. And what happens is when you look at the patterns of the past and you're able to realize that you can 100% control how fast you're experiencing time, how fast you're experiencing these moments, these emotions, and you can actually slow it down. You can compartmentalize all of these different things. This is emotional control. This is mental control. This is resilience. This is self mastery. When you guys can practice all of that at the same time, it's kind of like Neo in the Matrix when the bullets are going after him and he's just like dodging them slowly, slowly. It's like all the things that are happening in life or business, instead of it just coming at you like a fucking bullet, you're just slowing it down. And instead of reacting to it, you're actually just watching the bullets like pass you by and you're just analyzing it. You're kind of flowing like water with life. When you guys can realize that every event in your life you can do this, it creates so much power inside of you because now you feel like you actually have control, that you're not this person that just has to receive whatever life God or the universe gives you. But you can actually have something happen and occur, realize that it's a gift, that all of your traumas, all of the bullshit that you're experiencing is turning into wisdom you can then share with the world at some point. Once you realize that that's what's happening, nothing's scary anymore. You're kind of like, I just gotta wait until we pass through this trial. I just gotta wait until like time actually does its thing because time is just one of those things that sometimes you just have to let it pass. Just like if there's a storm, there's nothing that like we can't blow into the fucking sky and be like, and then the storm's gonna go away. We can't do that. We can't force it. Like it's gonna pass. And just like time, we have to just let it go. Stop trying to control it. Stop thinking that we have to go against the grain, that we can flow with it completely. We can just watch it pass. We can be intentional. We can do whatever we want with it, experience it. So here's what I want you guys to do today. This is a great exercise for today. On YouTube, which is hilarious that not a lot of people watched it because it's actually a great one for me. And if it's something that I would watch, it'd be that one. I posted a YouTube video about breathing. Go do that breathing exercise before you do the exercise for today. Okay. Like breathe, become present. Um, think about the biggest thing that's creating rift in your heart, the thing that's creating chaos for you emotionally or mentally, the thing that's creating chaos inside of your business, whatever that one thing is. I only want you to hyper focus, right, on that one thing, just like we were talking about today. Focus on the chaos of whatever that is in your business, in your marriage, in your personal life, in your health, whatever it is that feels chaotic. And I want you to do that breathing exercise so that way you can be present when you do this. And then I want you to ask yourself, how is this working for me? Not to me. How is this working for me? So I'll give you a couple examples. Okay. Let's say that it's your fitness and nutrition. And you're like, fuck, the chaos is like not eating the fucking burger. It's not eating the yummy ass food that I want to eat. Um, my wife bought another box of fucking donuts. Boom. Here, live example. Let's say that I felt chaotic about it because I used to. I used to be like, damn, I want some donuts. Now I'm just like, I don't want to eat that shit. So let's say I felt chaos because I'm like, something's calling me to fucking eat the donuts. How is that happening for me? Well, it's happening for me because my lower self says I want the donuts. My higher self says on the other side of the discipline of saying no to that thing, you're going to not only find the body that you want, but you're going to forge the mentality that's even more lethal, that actually has true command and control. So now I've taken this small negative and I've turned into this massive positive. Let's say it's the gym and you're like, oh, fuck, man. Like, I don't want to go to the gym. I hate going to the gym. It's cold, fucking stormy. Only time I have is like in the bright and early in the morning before the kids are awake, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, one of the things that's calling chaos to my life is trying to fit in the gym. When you turn that into a positive and you slow it down, you're like, how's this happening for me? How's this working for me? Then you realize, oh, well, me stating that I don't have time to go to the gym is showing me that I'm not prioritizing the very things that are actually going to help me in my life. Interesting. Okay, so there's something that I can do to prioritize things that actually serve me and kind of time audit myself to see where I'm wasting my own time. Okay, so that's what it's showing me. Number two, on the other side of doing the very thing that I don't want to do, on the other side of this discomfort is the better version of me, my higher self. So now there's two lessons that are working for me, and it's on the other side of this test of having to go to the gym. So then I associate going to the gym far less with like building a body and more towards self mastery. And if you guys will actually watch my stories on Instagram, this is what I talk about. I'm like, I don't go to the gym because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm just trying to keep my mind right. That's what I'm associating with because then it allows you to slow down. Let's say that there's some chaos happening in your marriage and like maybe you're fighting with your spouse a lot and you don't know how to move through that or your significant other. And you're like, man, like you're just the thing that's causing the most chaos in my life right now is again, we just keep getting into fights. Keep getting into arguments, blah, 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 blah. How's this happening for me? How's this working for me? How the fuck is that working for me? We're getting into fights every night. Let's say that's your issue. Um, well, it's happening for me because I realize that there's something inside of me that's being triggered that's causing me to add to the fight, whether or not I'm starting it or whether I'm adding to it. There's some emotional trigger I have not yet looked at. Because if there was no emotional trigger, no matter how my spouse or partner treated me, I would not even respond. I would actually just probably not deflect it, but it wouldn't affect me in any shape, way, or form. And I'd see that more of them just trying to communicate in their own way, the best way that they know how. Interesting. So, what this is teaching me is emotional control. It's working for me because it's teaching me the gap in my emotional control. That maybe there's also some trigger or trauma in me that every time we get into a fight, I go into a defense mechanism. And if this is solved or when this is solved, then we're going to have a much healthier marriage. We're going to have a much healthier relationship. Interesting. Or I can decide that this is no longer the path I want to be on. So this is working for me. But do you see how hard it would be to do any of that shit if your mind is just going rapid fire? If you're on the fucking roller coaster and your mind is just caught elsewhere, how would you ever possibly be able to deconstruct that? And when you think about your life and all of the areas of your life where it's lacking, isn't that the only thing missing? Isn't the only thing missing your ability to stop, slow down, and actually look at steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, not 9, 10, 11, 12? Isn't that the only thing missing? And if that's true, then why is it that we don't spend more time slowing down? It's because there's also a fear that if we slow down and we take the time, that we're actually going to lose time. But the truth is, if we start solving all of these problems in ourselves, our operating systems, our perspectives, our point of views right now, we're actually going to have far more time to appreciate life for what it has to offer for us because we no longer will have the filters of fear, of scarcity, of doubt. None of that. Slowing down time has been one of the most it's one of the biggest blessings. I've like a skill set that I've learned over time. And I want you to become hyper aware of how much control you can have emotionally, spiritually, mentally inside of your marriage, with the relationship with your kids, especially in your business when you're able to slow down. When you become very mindful and alert that, like, oh shit, I'm kind of moving at the rapid rate. Let's slow this shit down. And you learn how to breathe and you learn how to control. When you do that, life is just a little bit different. It feels like you get to squeeze more out of today than you normally would. Because every second matters versus every second just fleeting with no reason, no intention. That's the lesson that called to me today. For you guys, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of chaos in the world right now. And I think that whether or not we realize it, that probably in the back of our minds, we're thinking about the chaos and shit. This is how I stay like in a very grounded place. Now, there's going to be times where I have flare ups, but for the most part, I'm pretty calm all the time. And it's because of this skill set that I've learned to create and cultivate by being very intentional about it. So practice that. I would love to know inside of the comments, wherever this is allowed to post, because some platforms let me post this, some don't. I would love to know after you do that breathing exercise, again, that you guys can find on my YouTube channel. It's the one with the least amount of views because nobody wants to fucking breathe. Again, everybody likes to watch my videos where I'm firing off or I'm saying some crazy shit. Or I'm like crying in my videos. Everybody wants to watch that because it's entertaining. But the one video I make, 'cause I was like, I'm gonna test this out. The one video I make to actually help you guys feel more connected to life, nobody wants to watch that shit because they're like, why would I want to spend 15 fucking minutes watching Phil breathe? Teaching me how to breathe. I know how to fucking breathe, Phil. Why am I gonna watch that? It's so funny how like the data shows that people spend less time watching that very thing that would actually create more present time for them. Isn't that crazy what our perception is like? Because we'd rather get the dopamine hits of watching entertainment than actually doing something to better ourselves. It's an interesting thing that happens. So just be aware of that. If you notice the patterns, that's why I laugh when I do things like that, because I know that somebody does need that video. I know that at some point when you're prepared to understand that there's a lot of chaos in the body, that you do need something to teach you how to anchor yourself, the video will find you. It's just very interesting to see. Everybody likes the vlogs and the flashy things and blah blah blah. But when it comes to being present with yourself, one of the most challenging things, nobody wants to watch that because that's when you start facing your demons. That's when the real work happens. You don't have to do work when you're entertained. Again, you just have to be a zombie and be entertained. Just like we were talking about at the start of this training. You don't have to try. But breathing, you have to try. You have to be intentional with breathing. You have to be intentional with absorbing the teachings. And the teachings come from you. And that's why you don't want to do it, because you don't trust you enough to do it, to trust that the teachings are there for a reason. So just interesting stuff. So again, that's your exercise. Watch that video, breathe. Literally, it's something that I would highly recommend you guys apply to every part of your day, especially when you guys are feeling a lot of the chaos. And then again, get the one big thing that's creating chaos in your life right now, in your business, in your life, in your marriage, you personally, with your family, whatever that one thing is. And then ask yourself the important question: how's this working for you? How's this working for you? And when you can find that, I want you to sit with it for a little bit. I want you to sit with it, breathe it into life, and then comment wherever you can: Facebook, YouTube, maybe Instagram. Instagram's the weirdest one. And tell me what comes up from the exercise. The whole purpose of this, guys, the whole purpose of me doing this live for 29 days, so you guys can tell me what's going on. Some of you guys are talking more and more, becoming more comfortable talking during the lives and things like that. But tell me what happens inside of the exercises. I've given you guys quite a lot of exercises, and I only know a handful of you guys, what you guys are getting from it. And I can guarantee you the reason why that is because you either haven't spent intentional time actually pouring into it and making time. And that's why you don't have anything of substance to talk about or share, or you're afraid of sharing the real you. And part of this process of changing your life, guys, is you just accepting and embracing exactly who the fuck you are. Not trying to be anybody else, not trying to fill anybody else's mold. And you're just like, this is me, whatever the fuck. That's it. And if by the end of these 29 training sessions, that's all you guys leave with is just like this higher level of confidence that you are who you are, and that you've also acknowledged there's gaps in who you are that you could better, and that your purpose is actually far more, far bigger, far more vast than you've ever given it credit for, and actually you're ready for change. If that's all you leave with, that's fucking awesome. Now what we're doing is we're orienting you in the right way, and then you just fucking take off and just spend the rest of your life finding yourself even more. That's the purpose, guys. Like, changing your life, it's not this big crazy ass shift that happens. It's like the birds aren't going to randomly fly as you like look up and it slows down, and then there's like a fucking astronaut that just comes from space and you just see him. I don't fucking know. Like, there's not, it's a magical event. I've had those events happen, but it's not always that way. Sometimes it's just you putting the fucking work. So put in the work, guys. I'll see you in tomorrow's training. Much love as always. Peace.